Hello everyone, thank you so much again for joining me. I wasn't planning on having like video reviews or reaction videos on my channel, but there's been a couple of Netflix videos out recently that are just like absolutely incredible. I feel like I have to talk about them, you know? A couple of days ago I watched the movie on Netflix called Okja. It's spelled O-K-J-A, and it's a Korean American film. If you haven't seen the movie yet, I am going to include some spoilers, and I'm going to kind of tell you the ending and basically just everything that I thought about the entire movie as a whole. So if you haven't seen it yet, I recommend you watch it first before you watch this video. I mean, there's so many themes going on this that it's kind of hard to like narrow it down with one sentence. But the storyline is basically that this woman, played by Tilda Swinton, is the CEO of this corporation that has invented this giant animal, a super pig that is basically invented and bred to feed the planet because the planet in this world is all out of food. They give, I think, 10 different countries one pig, and they want to see how each of these cultures basically grows the pig and see which culture creates the best and the biggest super pig. Essentially, this little girl ends up raising this pig, and while she's distracted, they take this pig from her. And so this story is basically the adventure of her fighting for this pig. I mean, this pig is her best friend. I just thought the movie was absolutely incredible. I was incredibly moved by it. I was sobbing. I mean, I had watched the trailer a couple weeks before I watched the actual movie, and that made me tear up, and so I knew that it would be really hard for me to watch, but as a vegan, I felt like I needed to watch it. I felt like I could learn things from it, and so that's why I watched it. I took some notes right after I watched it because I was just so emotional about it that I wanted to write down all of my thoughts. And so if I'm looking down, it's because I'm referring to my notes that I took. And I actually just watched the trailer again before I started filming so I could kind of refresh my memory and feel those emotions that I felt when I was watching it. I'm going to talk about this movie in regards to veganism and animal agriculture because that is what this channel is about, and that's what I'm all about. I might touch on other things, but the core of this video is going to be about that. So I noticed a lot of things about this video that I think would help people who maybe aren't vegan sort of relate to the story and relate to this animal specifically so that they could be more moved by this entire storyline. One thing they did, which was really, I thought, pretty effective, is that they definitely made sure throughout the movie to showcase this animal's intelligence. For example, in the very beginning when the little girl was falling off of the cliff, like they were able to show the animal was able to sort of strategize and save this little girl. They also gave this animal quite a personality, and I think that also helped along with its intelligence. Although I don't feel like I needed that, I feel like an everyday person who maybe has no real concept of where our food comes from, I feel like they really needed that so that they could feel more compassion and more empathy for that animal, because they could look and see, yeah, like this animal is really smart, and why would we want to kill this animal? Because I feel like a lot of people judge an animal's worthiness to live based on its intelligence, and although I don't feel that way at all, I feel like it was important to include that in this movie so that the average person could put two and two together in that sense and really relate and want this animal to live. The movie is slightly graphic in that they are performing experiments and being a little rough with this animal. And although it is CGI, I thought the CGI was incredible. It looked pretty real to me. I really felt really moved by it, and I felt really upset watching it. And I know I'm extremely sensitive in that regard, and so I'm not surprised by that at all. But I don't know how anybody could watch it and not be upset by it, at least a little bit. I thought it was really great at telling the story of factory farming. I don't know that a lot of people will even connect the dots in that way. Obviously I did, because that's why I watched it in the first place. But I feel like just the way the storyline went and how they showed in the end the actual warehouse where these animals were being slaughtered and butchered. I hope that that was able to connect with people. They were able to see that although this animal in this movie is not real, that this actually happens. I mean, I watched it for that reason. Obviously, I understood that from the very beginning. But I feel like it was easy to connect with that, especially in the end when they did show that stuff and they showed like the feedlot with all the animals. Another theme that I noticed throughout this movie is that they were able to show the simplicity of other cultures because this animal grew up in Korea. So they were able to show the Korean culture versus when this animal was in America and the American culture and consumerism and how it's all about the money. I really like that juxtaposition. I thought that helped tell the story even more. And what I also really liked with this movie is that although it showed a lot of the little girl, its owner, I mean, I myself felt really connected with the storyline of this actual pig. Of course, I empathize with this girl because I felt like that would be me in that situation. I would react exactly how she did. I feel like it told her story, but it also told this pig's story. And I think that was super important as far as the vegan message goes. If I'm relating this to myself, like, yeah, I care a lot about animals, but I'm not the one having to go through this. I'm not the one being slaughtered. I'm not the one that's living solely for consumerism. So I liked how you were able to really relate to the animal and not only the girl. So this woman played by Tilda Swinton, there were a lot of things that she said that really hit home about consumerism and the fact that if it's cheap, then people will eat it. I mean, that was said at the end of the movie, and that I think was really interesting. I thought that that really was like a strong, powerful message, and I hope that people are able to pick up on that and relate that to what is actually happening, because it's absolutely true. If it's cheap, people will eat it. And gosh, I was a mess at the end of this. I was sobbing. I don't think I've ever cried as hard watching a movie as I did with this movie. And it's because the whole time, although I knew this animal wasn't real, not only did it look really real, but I was so easily able to connect it to factory farming that I knew it was real in a sense, you know? And I was just so, like, I was distraught. I was hysterically crying. Of course, I don't like to cry, but I think if I had that strong of a reaction, then maybe other people will have, maybe not a similar reaction, but some sort of reaction to prompt them to at least think about their control over what is happening in this world. And especially at the end, like, those feedlots look exactly how they would with a cow or a pig lot. And I liked that about it. I liked that it wasn't although the animal was completely fake, and you obviously knew that it wasn't a real animal, its surroundings and the way in which it was basically in this big giant pen in the end, and the way that they were slaughtering these animals is exactly how it happens in real life. I thought that was also really effective, and I just really hope that people are able to connect the dots with this and see that this is what is actually happening and that they have a say in this, because in the end, it is all about the money. And that was a very strong message, especially in the end. I did like the ending. I thought that it really fit, like, it was happy enough to where I didn't feel completely upset at the end with the ending, but it was also, it was real. I mean, although this girl was able to save this pig because she was able to pay for it, because in the end, it's all about money, right? But I mean, they continue to slaughter these animals. I think that it needed that ending. I think that that would be a true ending, because that is exactly what would happen. They're not going to stop production on these pigs because one girl wants to save her pig. It's not about these animals' lives. It is about the money. This movie was really well done. It had amazing cinematography, an amazing storyline. Although I probably won't be able to watch it again because I had such a strong reaction to it. I have no problem sharing it with my friends. I think that everybody needs to watch this, because I think it can prompt people to kind of start to think about these things. People don't think about these things enough. I'm so happy that these kinds of movies are coming to be, and that people have access to these ways of thinking, and it'll get people to at least start to think about these things. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm really glad that I was able to make it and talk about it. I thought it was an important movie to talk about because I think that aside from showing actual footage of factory farms, I thought that it told a really beautiful and impactful story about what is happening today in our culture. I just hope people are able to connect that. Leave me comments down below and let me know what you thought of the movie, and that we could get a dialogue going about it, because I think it's really important to keep talking about these things. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.
Where are you going?